Hello. One of these days, I'm gonna get that musical fade out right. Today was not that day. My bad. Oh, we got markers in the background. Hey, that actually looks fine. We'll just leave that there. Why the heck not? Hello, my friends. Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. I am so excited that you are here to spend the next hour with me. I hope you grabbed a beverage. I have water, as per usual, in my bad witch. Are you a bad witch? Are you a good witch mug? Courtesy of my sister. Oh, man. Oh, man. And I made it. I just finished dinner. Y'all, this is my second time making chicken thighs, and both times I've done it in the air fryer. Admittedly, I have one that's the Ninja Foodie grill / air fryer thing, so I have a roast setting, but those chicken thighs cook quickly. I think they were done in like 15 or 16 minutes at 390 degrees. They were juicy. They were good. I cut the skin off of them because I'm not a huge fan of all this, like the skin on chicken, unless it's fried really, really well. All right. Have you guys ever heard of Brown's chicken? And does Brown's chicken still exist? In my mind, in my childhood, one of like the truest forms of nostalgia. This just made me think of it. Oh my gosh. I haven't thought about Brown's chicken in years. But my family used to order from Brown's chicken for dinner all the time, at least maybe 2 times a month. Oh my gosh, and I loved. Why am I feeling nostalgic? I have absolutely no idea. But I loved their fried chicken. So the skin of the crispy, yes. But in general, I'm used to boneless, skinless chicken, right? And the butcher box that we get, sorry, my throat. Y'all, it's been a day. Aunt Flo just started, so I'm all of the things right now. So bear with me. And I'm unmedicated to top it off. I'm trying really hard to get through the day with no medication. And so far it's happened. I was gonna say so far so good, but it hasn't all been good. Let's just put it that way. Um, so in the butcher box free meat that we signed up for that we got is free chicken thighs. My husband and I don't normally eat chicken thighs. But unfortunately, they're like bone in, skin on chicken thighs. And I'm like, I don't freaking know what to do with this. So I actually took kitchen shears and cut the skin off. I was like, it's fine. And so now we have skinless chicken thighs. And you know what? They are just as good. So that's my little spiel for the day. Hello, Katie. I see your question, and I actually saw it in time to add it to a little banner thing for Q&A time. Andy's here with the word doohickey. I used the word doohickey again the other day, and I even reminded my husband, I was like, it's hilarious to me that people think that like the doohickey word is like a running joke in my live stream because I literally use it in my day-to-day language. Hello, Kathy. Glad to see you here. Hello, Lauren and Julie and Kim. So glad y'all are here today. Oh, wait, we're still scrolling. Here's Lissa. Hello. Oh, my goodness. I don't think it's in the Chicagoland area anymore. Okay. At first, I was like, what are you talking about? I freaking loved that place. Oh, man. Now I can picture the restaurant. I can picture the bag. And they had biscuits. Oh, y'all. So it's normal for like Aunt Flo to bring like the reflection. This is the time of the month when like your right and left hemisphere are most communicative and closest together and most conjoined. So reflection is a very big part of emotionally this part of my cycle. And I just think it's hilarious, like big nostalgia play. Between that and my husband and I were talking about a particular line in Boy Meets World, because my husband and I are rewatching Boy Meets World. And we're doing the podcast. There's a podcast out for my Boy Meets World fans. And it is Will Friedle, who plays Eric Matthews, Danielle. Oh my gosh, I should know her name. Why can't I think of her name right now? Danielle Fishel, who played Topanga, and Ryder Strong, who played Sean Hunter. And they're doing a podcast, and it's fabulous. We're loving it. We actually got tickets. They're coming on tour, and we got tickets to go to see the podcast live when they come in July, which we never do stuff like that. But we're like, we like this podcast. We're really enjoying listening to it and rewatching the show. We should probably go to this. So we got tickets. Super stoked about that. But there's a line that we just saw in one of the episodes, the one where Eric goes, "Little brother, life's tough, get a helmet," and then conks him in the head. And like all of the nostalgia came back to me with that one line, because that's the line that they used in their advertisements all the time when I was a kid, and or like for the replays or whatever. And so I don't know, feeling really nostalgic today, not gonna lie. I may not stay not feeling well. Oh, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well, but you do what you have to do. That's totally okay. I love chicken skin. Oh yeah. And I mean, if it's well done, I'll enjoy myself a bite. But I haven't found anything that I've enjoyed as much as Brown's chicken. Polka dot, thank you. This is one of my favorite shirts, and I found it on Amazon, y'all. This is one of my best Amazon clothes purchases ever. Ever. For the best result, move the bones in your ninja. That's cool. Yeah. So today, my friends, we've got stuff to talk about. Oh my goodness. I've decided that y'all are going to be privy to the information that so far only my Patreon members know. And but I've been dabbling in how and when to discuss it, what level I want to discuss it, and all of the things, and just trying to gather clarity around this whole desire I have to take my content not in a completely new direction, but kind of in a new direction, but not really a new direction. And like so much so that during prayer requests on Monday, oh, we got to do highs and lows. That reminds me. Before we get into this, let's do highs and lows and wellness wins and what I'm working on. And this is actually perfect. This needs to be the segue, because my wellness win was going to be the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. But so my high, let's just share yours in the chat if you're live. If you're watching on the replay, and I do have people occasionally come in and comment that they're watching the replay, please let me know you're watching the replay. I do really love that. And I see and I heart every comment that I get. So I love when I see you guys watching the replay. But if you want to share your highlights of the week, your highs, your lows, your wellness wins, or your I'm working on it, feel free in the comment section if you're watching the replay. But for now, in my chat, if you'd like to share any of those things, feel free to do so. My high was that we were at Bible study this week. We had small group on Monday. It was lovely. We love getting together. We end up like, we're finally like friends. Like, and it's kind of a weird thing, right? Because we signed up having no idea who we were going to be put in this group with. And we decided, when did we start? Last September. We've become good friends, and we like hanging out, and we might be hanging out with people again on the 4th of July. Like, great group. So much fun. Love it. We finished up our first Bible study. We did the Life Lessons from Acts by Max Lucado. It was excellent. If you're looking for something to do with the group, really, really great discussion happened in that book. But we go around and we give prayer requests, right? And we talk about what's happening in our lives. How can we pray for each other, things of that nature. And I actually requested prayer over clarity of what direction to take my brand and how. And so, it's a big deal when I'm asking for prayer over it, right? And yeah. So that was my high. My low was actually also my high. My low was that my period showed up today, but I'm so thankful. So thankful, because I had PMS like a what yesterday. I felt awful yesterday. Completely unfocused, total brain fog, bloated, exhausted, all of it. And I'm just like, and Amplo wasn't supposed to come until tomorrow. And I'm like, please just come early. Please, please, please. And my prayers were answered. So it's actually a high, happy day. My wellness win and my working on it are the same. So, are you ready, my friends? Your girl has finally decided to try the one form of eating, the not actually a diet, but like dieting is like your diet is a way of eating definition, right? I have finally decided to try the one thing I've never tried in 12 years that I've been dieting. And that is, I took a leap and I've started intuitive eating. And that's a big deal. I have not tracked my food in 5 days, intentionally, purposefully. Not because I'm in a not dieting phase, not because I'm rebelling against the tracker and just want to be off track. Absolutely 100% intentionally. And do you know something? I freaking love it. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface on what this means, but let me tell you a little bit about what's been happening. So, without getting deep into it, because please remember, I'm a noob, total and complete newbie at this entire IE thing, right? I've been reading the book. There's a big old book called like Intuitive Eating, the fourth edition or something like I don't know. I'm reading the fourth edition of a book that was recommended to me, and I'm almost finished with it. So I've read about the basic principles. I've been ruminating on them. I've been trying to apply them as best as you can. Like the first week you're doing something, right? Like you're still in the hardcore learning phase and ingesting the information phase and everything. But what I have found is this: one of your primary focuses here is honoring your hunger cues and honoring and respecting your fullness and satisfaction cues. Y'all, the amount of food that I have been able to put down because I'm sitting there and like I have no limits, right? Intuitive eating means you are not tracking. Intuitive eating means you can eat whatever you want. There's complete food freedom. What are you craving? What are you desiring? What are you feeling? All of these things. And the amount of food that I have not eaten this week simply because I'm like, you know what? I think I'm satisfied. You know what? I think I'm done. If you go over to my Instagram right now, you will see on my Instagram stories a picture of my dinner and my picture of my dinner plate of the food that I left behind. Not because I'm trying to cut it out. I had full permission to eat everything on that plate and more. None of it was weighed, none of it is tracked. And as I was eating, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm done. And I stopped and I'm satisfied. I'm completely satisfied. There is no hunger to be found here in my tummy. I had what did I do earlier today? I had a bowl. I was munchy at lunch because I was real crampy. Nothing sounded good. So my lunch was a beef stick, like one of those like primal, not primal kitchen, the new primal sticks of meat. Because I'm like, gotta get some protein in there. My stick of meat, some strawberries, gotta get some fruit in there. And a healthy on a go bar. I just got a new shipment and they have my chocolate ones. So I had a chocolate one. And then I was like, I don't think I'm not quite satisfied. I'm not quite done. And so I was rummaging because still nothing really sounded good. And I went, I'm going to eat these, I have the Trader Joe's lightly coated chocolate covered almonds. They're fantastic. They're just enough chocolate, but like they're not so overwhelmingly covered in chocolate that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just eating chocolate. Like they're perfect. They're really well done. And I'm like, in my intuitive eatingness, I'm like, do I bring the whole bag upstairs? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give myself permission to just go ham on the bag. I have permission to do that, but I'm like, I'm not going to do it. So I grabbed myself a little bowl and I filled up the bowl completely. And I brought the bowl upstairs and I sat here and I was doing stuff. I was prepping for my call this afternoon. And Julie outed herself. I had a coaching call with Julie this afternoon. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating and I'm doing my work. And I got about halfway through the bowl. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. And I put them off to the side. And wouldn't you know it, I did not pick up a single another almond. I had full permission to do so. I had full permission to do so. And what I normally do is I dish out a survey and I eat everything that's in that bowl. I am a member of the Plate Club. I'm a member of If I Tracked It, I Eat It. Hunger Signals be darned. And it is the craziest thing. It is the craziest thing. Not to mention, and big caveat here, weight is not a thing that you concern yourself with when you are intuitive eating. However, I'm still, baby steps. I've been getting on the scale every day just out of sheer curiosity of what it's doing, right? I am the lowest weight I have been in weeks. Weeks. And my period started today. Do those two things ever belong in a sentence together? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So I'm sitting here going, what is happening? I don't know. So that's what I'm doing now, y'all. You're the first to know. You're the first to know that I'm doing intuitive eating. And so what does that mean going forward? A lot of the same stuff, because there's still going to be plenty of healthy meals to be had and plenty of all the things, right? And I already don't really give serving sizes and calories or points or anything like that. So actually not a whole lot changes except maybe the titles of my videos. We'll see. But that's my wellness win. But it's also my working on it. It's also my working on it because I'm, like I said, I'm a very, very, very brand new newbie to this. So we will see. We will see. But now you guys know my big dirty little secret. I would love to find a Bible study group near me. Are you a member of a church, Kathy? Are you a member of a church? Reach out to me. You're in the Chicagoland area, right? You don't have to say what city you're in publicly, but let me know privately where you live. DM me. Only because if you're close enough to where I lived, I might be able to hook you up. Hi, I found a baseball cap, a secret pocket inside. I broke my sucky thing. Brain fog. Yep. Very busy at work and horrible air quality. Oh, yes, that's another low. Thank you for reminding me, Julie. The air quality across the entirety of the northern Midwest is terrible right now. Terrible. Chicagoland, too. Oh, I did not scroll up high enough. Here we go. Liz says hi. Click, will you? I got out to dinner with a friend I haven't seen since March 22. Wasn't expecting to see till August. Last minute. Didn't get enough sleep, but worth it. Sometimes they're worth it. It's worth it. My microwave died, so I have no microwave. That's a bummer. I don't feel pressured to entitlement eat all the freebie birthday treats at once. Yay! And when planning my day for tomorrow, I realized I legit wanted avocado toast and cherries as a treat. Avocado toast is a great treat. I mean, what do I do at Costco all the time? My treat is wild caught smoked salmon. And I come home and I make excellent avocado toast out of it. And that is, oh, that makes me so happy. Yes. Was there anything in the secret pockets? I stayed in my lane at work and had an insightful coaching call with Brie. I love it. I love it. Lauren's highs. We're celebrating my wedding anniversary, going to a Phillies game, getting lots of work done around the house. Low was lack of sleep for 2 nights and some lingering brain fog. Oh my goodness. What's with all of us in the brain fog, y'all? Amberly, hello, hello. Working on it. I have a style appointment on Monday, which ties perfectly to where I'm at right now. I'm reflecting a lot on my relationship with the scale of my body and if I'm okay if I don't lose. I love that. A 50% discount card. Excellent. Excellent. I usually finish my food before I can even tell if I'm full or not. Me too. Me too. And then I'll get to the end and I'll be like, oh, but I got to finish my plate. I got to finish my plate. Yeah. I feel like I always have to portion my food in some way, even if it's just plate size. I live in the Southwest Chicago suburbs. I went to Target thinking I'll get birthday cake waffles or something fun. And I was like, no, I really want avocado toast. That's great. That's great. Kim, you scored with the hat. Seriously, for sure. What a great find. These are great, y'all. These are great. I love when you guys share your wins and what you're working on and all of the things and not too many crazy lows this week. I love it. Lingering brain fog, be gone. I would like to personally blame, I don't know if it works out in like the New Jersey area, but for us, I would love to blame some of the brain fog on the fact that we have such freaking awful air quality right now. It's just brutal. It's just brutal, to be honest with you. But it's fine. It's fine. So all of that being said, does anybody have any questions about my dirty little secret that I just told you? About intuitive eating, about why, about any of it, or any other random questions as well. While you guys decide what we are going to chat about this evening. My title of the video today was Your Wellness Era is Now. And that's what I feel truly deeply in my soul. Just in the last week, I have felt an incredible shift in so much that's been happening. And you will see it in my video that goes live on Friday. I filmed 2 vlogs almost back to back. And the one that goes live on Friday, I was like, man, I felt it when I was looking, I was like, I feel like I'm a different human in this particular video. And it feels really good. I'm not going to lie. It feels really good. I have no idea where I'm going to go. I have no idea what's going to happen. All I know is that big change is coming, and my personal wellness era is now. Oh, the other announcement that I have, which is not technically my announcement, but I am starting to lead healthy meetings again. Starting next week, I will be leading meetings on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 11 p.m. Can you imagine? 11 a.m. Central Time. But what's really cool about them is that I have full permission to take the overall wellness approach to things. So my approach isn't going to be how do we fit the most points into our day, or bites into our day? How do I, sugar substitute this? So I want to talk about habit change. I want to talk about overall wellness. I want to talk about incorporating the foods we love. I want to talk about some of the things that I learned on my intuitive eating journey and how we all can use these, whether or not you are on your own intuitive eating journey or tracking journey or anything of that nature. I want to make sure that I am the voice of overall wellness instead of the voice of restriction. So I'm very, very excited to be given the opportunity to do that and to be back, which is super exciting. So, questions. We do have questions. Let me make sure I see. Let me answer Kim's first. We'll go in order of logical answering. Why? Because up until this point, I'm going to be blatantly honest and say nothing else has worked. Nothing else is working for me. Everything else has been working against me. Let's be honest for a second. Let's be candid. In the last 10 years, yes, I've gotten down to goal, but I've also gained my weight back. And every time I switch, every time I try something new, every time I whatever, things might be progressing a little bit for a short period of time, but eventually I burn out, my body stops losing, all of the things. And all I'm doing is trying to claw myself back down on the scale, and it's not working. Why is actually a great question. I have no idea why it's not working. So I've decided finally, I was like, you know what? Let's try something that I've never done before and just see what happens. Are you hoping to lose weight? So here's the thing. Technically, I'm going to try, oh my God, I keep wanting to call it intermittent fasting because in my brain, intermittent fasting is IF and intuitive eating is IE. And with the way my brain is functioning right now, I'm going to end up flipping them. With intuitive eating, the focus on the number on the scale goes away. You focus on respecting your body. You focus on hunger and fullness cues. It is not a diet. You are not supposed to intentionally lose weight on it. No. However, does it happen? Is it possible with intuitive eating? Yes, it's possible. And here's why. And this was not in the book. This is my own deduction from the last week of doing it. It is possible because in the act of trying to track my food, do my points, get the most bang for my buck, all of these things that I have been doing for years and years and years and years. Like I said, I'm a member of the Clean Plate Club. I eat based on a schedule. I eat based on what I track, right? If I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm having my 600 calorie breakfast, satiation, satisfaction level be darned, right? I eat it because I've tracked it. And only on the rarest of rare occasions do I go, I think I'm full. I'm going to put this away and save it till later. It is definitely the exception and not the norm for me. And what you do when you intuitively eat is you tune back into your body and you actually allow your body to tell you when you're hungry, when you're satisfied, and what you want. And now within reason, right? So like, am I going to go just every day be like, what do I want to eat for dinner? I'm still going to have a meal plan because it's much easier to function with a meal plan, right? It's much easier for me to know what my husband's having for lunch, what I'm having for lunch, what we're having for dinners this week, what days do I have to cook, what days am I dependent on leftovers, all of these things, right? But so I'm not leaning fully into like the idea of, oh, you know what I'm really craving? Brown's chicken. Gonna go get Brown's chicken tonight. No, I'm still gonna have a plan in terms of food. But here's what I know. I've discovered that a lot of people, I've discovered that a lot of people, what I've read about is that a lot of people, especially when they come off of hardcore, very restrictive diets, they go do a lot of rebound eating because all of a sudden they have permission to eat whatever the heck they want, which is true. On intuitive eating, that is true. Whatever you feel like eating, you can eat. No holds barred. I already have tuned into my body enough to know what foods make me feel best, what balance of foods make me feel best. The idea of eating, I used this example in my Patreon group earlier today. Do you have full permission to eat cake with copious amounts of frosting for every meal of the day for as long as you want? Yes, you do on intuitive eating. The mere thought of doing that makes me want a salad. And I'm not exaggerating even a little bit. I'm like, I love cake. I love frosting. Right now, especially because I'm full, I'm very often a person where if I'm full and my husband's like, okay, what are we doing for dinner? I'm like, I can't even think about food right now because I'm full. The idea of copious amounts of frosting right now is revolting to me. And you guys know that like buttercream frosting is literally my favorite thing on the face of this planet. So it's really, the point is, it's really tuning into those signals. And instead of waiting until you're overstuffed or even feeling like on the heavy side of full, like, can you stop eating when you feel satisfied? When you're no longer hungry and you're comfortable. And like I said earlier, the amount of food that I have put down this week, because I have full permission to eat whatever the heck I want. Whatever the heck I want. It's been so easy for me. It's been so easy. So, is it possible? It's entirely possible. What my hope is that if this weight is the weight that I am not supposed to be at, which I have a hunch that it is. I have a hunch that my body's ideal weight is around where I was in like 2017, 2018. That is my best guess. That is the place that I survived the longest. But even then, I was still clawing for that smaller number that entire time. But I'm thinking that that's where I was actually most comfortable, most active, most able, most strong, all of those things. So my hunch is that with repetitive practice of me being able to be like, you know what, I'm not hungry right now. I'm going to put this down, or I'm done. I'm going to put this down. And having the freedom to no longer have to track, to no longer have to measure, to no longer have to do any of those things. I feel like the stress relief that will bring me, plus with like, I'm still going to work out. This is not one of the interesting things I read in this book was there is a difference between I'm not dieting right now and intuitive eating. And a lot of people, when they go on vacation or they're done with fat loss or they're on a break or they're off the wagon, their mindset is not, I'm intuitively eating. It's, I'm not dieting right now, which basically in their brain gives them full permission to like, they're like, I can have all the candy. I'm not dieting right now. And then you shove yourself sick full of candy because you're not dieting right now. But then you know in the back of your mind that you're going to start your diet again later. So better eat it all now because I can't eat it on my diet later. Whereas intuitive eating is not that at all. It's not that at all. It is being able to have full permission and unconditional permission to eat food, but you are respecting your body. You're respecting your hunger. You're respecting your fullness cues. And, you know, kind of just living the way we all lived when we were infants. Think about it. All of us were intuitive eaters when we were infants, right? So that's why. Do I hope to lose weight? It'd be nice. But part of the mental game is going to be trying to let that go and just focus on my other health goals, which is health and strength. And oh my gosh, Lauren, I thought of you last night when I was stretching up against the wall for the first time in a long time. And I went, my legs were so tight. I'm like, why do I do this to myself? My flexibility. I need to work on all of these mechanical things of my health journey, where weight doesn't matter. What does intuiting help with if you don't struggle with portions or when to eat or not to eat? Then you're intuitive eating naturally. Intuitive eating is what people who aren't dieting, aren't watching their food and maintaining their weight are doing. That's intuitive eating is what we all should be able to do. It's what we all were born with and that we somehow lost. So it's not a plan. It's not a plan of any kind. It's guidelines. It's things that you learn to do but it's not like, if you're not struggling with portions, you're not struggling with when to eat or not to eat, um, then you should already be doing it, right? What is the portion of is there a part of the phrase missing there? Because in my mind, that sentence is the person you just described is in fact an intuitive eater. I've coincidentally been leaning the IE direction at the same time, still on the fence. Tracking rigidity is not helping at all. Yep. Fantastic answer. Oh, good. I'm glad that was clear. Thank you, Kim. Weight gain is normal and almost expected in the early stages of IE as you're starting to break food rules, but weight gain, loss, and maintenance overall is possible. Yep. Lori, hello. So glad you made it. Practical hunger and nutrition knowledge are part of intuitive eating. And I think that's where I have a leg up because I'm a logical human being. So in my mind, because one of the guidelines is respect your body, I'm still going to fuel it properly. I'm not going to be like, I'm not dieting, therefore I'm going to eat for crap. I'm not going to do that because I know what makes me feel good. I know what helps me function better. I know all of these things, and I know nutritionally the right balance. Am I tracking macro for macro at the moment? No, I'm not. But I know, like, my goals for our sustainable summer challenge in the Patreon, none of my goals have changed. My goals are still to eat at least 4 servings of produce every day and have a protein focus at every meal, drink my water, get my step bet goals. Like, they're all the same. They're all still there. I intentionally did not make any like specific grammage goals for anything. But like just yesterday, 2 days ago, I wanted something to make me feel a little fancy in the afternoon. So I made my basil seed water because I'm like, I have not had enough fiber today. And I'm well aware of the fact I have not had enough fiber today. Therefore, I'm going to make something that has heavy fiber in it to make sure that I'm giving my body adequate fiber. Nutrition knowledge is super helpful in this instance, I think, especially for someone like me who's like, well, obviously I'm going to put together a nice nutritious meal, but it doesn't mean that I can't go out and have a burger if I really want a burger, right? The thought of not tracking is scary. Preach. Fear of gaining weight is number 1. Agreed with Lissa, though, the tracking can be a little bit obsessive at times. Yes. And it's, I mean, like I said, I'm on week 1. Check in with me in a month and see how I'm doing, y'all. Well, because and for everybody, I think there will be a guideline or two that is going to be more important for you to lean on. For example, I can tell pretty easily when I'm hungry. Like, it's pretty obvious to me when I'm hungry. Listening to my hunger cues, I have no problems with. Listening to my fullness cues, which is a separate guideline, that's the one I struggle with. And that's the one where if I find growth in that one area, it could be potentially game-changing for me. But for other people, it's going to be one of the other guidelines, maybe, you know? I'm in the process of making. Oh, yum. I'm not sure what they are, but way to go. 800 is a commitment of anything. Woo. Eating past fullness can be normal. Like maybe for dinner, you eat more of a 7 on the hunger scale. So you're not looking. Yeah. And I haven't done anything crazy, but just like the simple act of tuning in. And like, I was so proud of myself when I was able to carry my bowl of almonds back downstairs and I still had almonds in it. I was just like, and I wasn't mad that I ate them. It wasn't restrictive feeling at all that I didn't eat them. They sat here the whole time. I could have easily been sitting here. They were right here, this far away from me. I could have easily been doing this. And I just didn't. And I told myself, I'm like, if you want more, you can go back and have more. It's fine. And I didn't take a single one. Well, you have frequent appetite losing issues. I won't be hungry for dinner until closer to. Yes. And sometimes you have to do like meal timing based on some things, right? Like I ate lunch, even though I had zero appetite. I could tell I was hungry, even though I didn't want food. I really didn't want food. But I was like, you're going to end up getting ravenously hungry like an hour before dinner, and then you're not going to want to eat dinner. So eat something now to hold yourself over until you are ready for dinner. I feel like I should. Yes, go for it. Do it. Just a little something. Do it right now. unless you're actively typing away, get some of your stretching in because then you can check your box today. I approve of that. So for me, that part just sounds like being mindful. The other part is what you eat, not how much or how often. Um, I mean, it a lot of it is being mindful. It's all being mindful. The other part is what you eat, not how much or how often. Yeah, so it's and like I said, I'm still a noob, but it's all of those things, right? And the part that a lot of us, especially as dieters, and even I have a hard time grappling with is the idea of you have unconditional permission to eat whatever the heck you want because that's true. But the theory is, and it it proves to be true time and time again, especially for me. Like when you go on a cruise and you have you have ultimate permission to eat whatever the heck you want, right? How many of us get on a cruise and then by the time we get off, you're like, I really want to have nothing but like salad and a light soup and fruit for like 3 days to kind of detox from the cruise, right? Because everything feels so heavy and your body naturally is like, hey, can you give me something that's a little bit more nourishing? Unless, of course, you fed yourself nourishing things while you were on the cruise. But the theory is that if you know, what phrase do I use? Eat unconditionally, whatever the heck you want, and it all happens to be junk enough, eventually your body's going to be like, "Hey, actually, I don't want that right now. Can you please give me something else?" And if you're doing what intuitive eating wants you to do, which is to be listening to your body and giving it what it craves, eventually it's going to go, "Hello, hello, excuse me, I'm actually craving a vegetable. Please go give me one." Now, if you refuse to listen to it, that's on you, and that's not intuitive eating. But eventually, your body will flip over to being like, and your mind, once you have regained the trust with yourself, like food is not scarce. I'm no longer restricting. I can have Oreos, cake, pizza, sushi, whatever it is, whenever I want. It's not limited. It's not that I'm not dieting and therefore I can have it. I can have it anytime. Once your brain and your body start to accept that as truth, then you can move on to the next step. It's like a phased program, right? I just happen to be in the place where I'm already past that step, um, which made that going into this feel a lot easier. Something we all should be able to do. Interesting. I truly think I can never feel comfortable doing it. Maybe all the more reason to do it. And it could be interesting, Kim, especially for you. What are you doing right now? Are you still in a fat loss phase or are you in maintenance phase? Because you were an expert in maintenance phase and you did a really nice job of looking at your measurements and, trying to shake the power of the scale. And you did all of that mindset work. And I'm actually really excited because I can't wait to take all of this stuff that I'm learning and I'm personally doing and put it in my coaching program. And so my coaching is going to shift to a lot more of this healthy habited PMS brain, sorry. But like all of the stuff behind this and the mindset and the work behind all of this as well, which I'm really excited to be able to offer other people too. But maybe you try with like one day because you also have a very, very severe knowledge of nutrition. You know your stuff, Kim. So you would be an excellent candidate for like, you know what? Let me just not track today and eat intuitively. That's the difference, though. That's the difference. And hear me. That's the difference. There's a difference between I'm not tracking and therefore I'm not dieting and therefore let's go wild. It's not permission to go wild. It's when you're listening to your body will tell you you're hungry, you're satisfied, you're all of those things. And I think that's the thing that people probably mess up. Sometimes I'm skeptical of the whole you're born with this because my diet food struggle started at such a young age. Yes, but you probably don't remember. We were all intuitive eaters. We cried when we were hungry. We stopped crying when we were full. Right? And when we were on the boob or on the bottle, when we were done, we let mom know. We were like, nope, sorry, done, don't want it anymore, thanks. And if we were really hungry, if we needed to be fed multiple times, all like our bodies knew. We were all born intuitive eaters. And eating a well-balanced meal. Yeah, exactly. My dinner tonight was a reasonably well-balanced meal. Leftover feta pasta. Y'all, I tried the TikTok pasta finally, and it is good. You know that TikTok pasta with like the cherry tomatoes and the feta block in the middle with the olive oil, and you put it in the oven and then you mush it all up. It was so good. And I made it with Banza pasta because I wanted pasta with a little bit more protein in there and a little bit more fiber in there and all of that. And I was able to eat what I wanted. This pasta dish lasted me. When did I make that? Sunday? Did I make that Saturday? When did I make that? The weekend. And I just been eating a little bit by little bit every day. And it's been so good. Knowing your body needs fuel even when you're not necessarily hungry. Yep. They're a pastry cookie filled with strawberry, raspberry preserves, poppy seed, or apricot filling. They're shaped like triangles. Oh my gosh. The Queen Esther story. Excellent. I can kind of picture them. I don't know if I'm picturing the right thing, but I'm picturing what you described in my head. And I like it. If I ate what I wanted without restriction, I would eat like a 12-year-old with a credit card. The types of food I don't eat past fullness or eat super often throughout the day. And what's interesting is how long have you let yourself eat with abandon? And it could be, I've been thinking about this all day since we've been having our conversation, Amberly. Because you are a rebel, I don't know how and if things change for you. That's what I'm not sure of. Because in my brain, as I've been thinking about all of these things, when we were talking about, you're like, well, I don't eat with much restriction now, but you're talking about, your way of eating, your diet, your this. And I'm like, I'm wondering if your pride in the fact that you don't eat with much restriction right now is because it makes you feel like you are rebelling against this diet you are following. And I could be wrong, but like I've been thinking about you and intuitive eating all afternoon. um, but I think the point is, and I don't know if you've ever tried. I don't know. I don't know if this has ever happened, but like, would you continue to eat like that for an extended period of time? And some people, it takes a couple months of eating uninhibited like that before they bring it back. But when you start to think about the concept of respecting your body with nutrition and movement, would that put a halt on it? Right? Because for me, that would put a halt on it. That would be like, well, is this like, yes, I could eat this giant bowl of buttercream frosting if I wanted to, but would that really A, make me feel good? No. B, would that really be respecting my body? Would that? No. So like, I can have some of it. Let me take out some. I'll have some and I'll eat it. And if I really truly want more, I can go back and have more. But if I'm full, if I'm satisfied, I'm not going to go back and have more because that would be disrespectful to my body. So that line of it, like that part of it, would that put a halt on your 12-year-old with a credit card? And maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Venn diagram with internal desires and one circle. Yes, internal desires and external knowledge, and in the middle is where it meets. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I feel like, and I could be wrong, and Lisa, you followed her longer than I have. I followed her for a long period of time, and then I found her incredibly annoying, so I unfollowed her. And I just recently started following her again for intuitive eating. Almost said intermittent fasting again. Intuitive eating. And I feel like there's been a shift in the narrative in her content that feels much more aligned with the version of intuitive eating that I would agree with, as opposed to just outwardly anti-diet. I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel like this time when she comes across my screen, the message that she's conveying in her videos doesn't infuriate me like it did previously. Maintenance phase. So it's doable for sure. Yeah. So I would challenge you, Kim, just for one day. And you can message me if you want to. I don't care. If you're telling me you do it and you need me to talk you through it, but like just one day. And just to make it easier, don't pick a weekend. Don't pick one of your higher calorie days. Pick a normal Tuesday and just don't track that day. And eat like you normally would, but don't weigh it, don't measure it, don't track it. And see what happens. See how you feel. It's free. I'm going to get the $7 venti, but I know I'd feel awful. Yeah, I can't. And I've gotten better about like oh, you have a free beverage. I'm like, what would I actually finish? Because I also don't want to waste the food. You'll feel much better. Yeah, exactly. Oh, the feta pasta. It was so good. It was so good. What about a protein goal and intuitive eating? Guesstimate. Yep, guesstimate. I'm not tracking the protein. What I'm doing, my goal is to have a protein focus at every meal. With the exception of like if I really truly want a giant bowl of pasta with Alfredo sauce and no protein on it, I can have that. I absolutely can. But like, did you see my face? I was literally like, why would I ever eat that? Because I have the knowledge of my body that protein makes me feel better. It makes me feel fuller. Everything is better when I eat protein. Some days it hasn't been a lot of protein. I ate one chicken thigh and I had about this much bonza pasta left in my feta pasta, and that's the only protein I had with dinner today. And it's fine. But I'm not like being like I need. The only time I did weigh my protein when my husband and I were splitting something. So when we were splitting salmon, I waited to make sure I didn't give him the shaft and to make sure I was getting adequate protein with dinner. That was it. That was it. But I was like, oh, how much is left? Well, he gets half and I get half. Okay, that looks like fair numbers. Awesome. Moving on. So I still do that on occasion, but like today I just grabbed a chicken thigh. Y'all, other than the lemon feta chicken that I made like 2 weeks ago, I've never had a chicken thigh unless it was a I'm not tracking day because I didn't know how to track it. Now I don't have to. My only restrictions now for myself are the types of food. If I had a lot of starch, I make myself grab something else. Or if I hadn't had protein, the next thing I eat needs to have more protein. And that's great. And I feel like that's exactly the same ebb and flow that I would have, right? Unless I'm and I'm really trying to tap into what do I really want. Literally in the kitchen this afternoon when I had no appetite, I stood there and I looked around. I'm like, I can have anything I want. What do I want to eat? And I'm just like, and I looked in the fridge. I'm like, cheese doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound good. So on the one side, I'm like, I should eat something that has a little bit of protein in it. What do I want that has protein in it? And I came up with the stick because there were 5 other options in the house. And I'm like, I really don't want any of those right now. And I'm like, I need to have something with a little bit of substance. And a heat bar is what I decided on. And like after I was done and I was still looking for like, I'm not quite satisfied yet. What else do I want? I literally sat there and I'm like, I can have anything I want. And my answer was almonds. Like, but like I have the knowledge of like that balance already, which is something that I'm going to cling to, you know? If I didn't have those restrictions on types of foods, it would be 100% carbs. And have you done like 100% carbs and steak for an extended period of time? I'm just curious because also wanting to have all of the carbs all of the time might mean you're not getting adequate carbs. And one of the things I was going to ask you earlier today is if you are tracking food, what is your fiber intake? Because fiber intake can help with a whole lot of things digestively, fat loss wise, satiety wise, all of those things. But I was only following her Aldi finds. Oh, okay. Protein makes me feel this way at honoring that nutritional knowledge without worrying about the exact grams. Yep. Bone and meat's one of the things I restrict when tracking. Yeah, it's just not easy to track. Yeah, you posted that. It looked really good. So, yeah. Yeah, it's quite the thing, right? It's quite the topic, and it's really something to think about. I encourage you. Let me make this clear. In no way am I going to push my way, my choices on y'all. If y'all want to hang around to Diva and the Divine and be tracking your points, your bites, your macros, your calories, I will even give you tips on how to do that because I know how to do that, especially in the macro community. But I also want to encourage total wellness, right? And again, let me see where I'm at in a month. Let me see how I'm feeling. Let me see what I'm doing. But there is so much freedom I've found to be found just in the last week. The idea that I can just cook food and then just eat it without having to worry about what are the macro breakdowns of the recipes has been so freeing that it's just saved me so much time and a load off my shoulders. But what I will encourage you is this. If you feel in any way convicted by this, if you're like, oh, I feel like this is something that I want to at least look into further, I would highly encourage you to read the book that I am reading. I'm going to get you the title of the book just to make sure that I tell you the right one. It's called Intuitive Eating, shocker. It's by Dr. Evelyn Tribble, but I want to get the full title. Intuitive Eating, 4th edition. A revolutionary anti-diet approach is what the book is called. Intuitive Eating, a revolutionary anti-diet approach by Evelyn Tribble and Elise Resch, whose names I may or may not be saying properly. I don't know. It's an excellent read. It's an excellent read. I'm finishing it up. I will hopefully have it done by the end of the week. And it is a book that's really gotten me to at least think about things, and it just lays out the guidelines, and it really makes you go, fascinating. So if you're at all thinking about it, like Kim, I think would be a great candidate to at least read the book. And if you hate the idea, then you hate the idea. But if you like the idea, then you have the resources necessary to maybe take the first step, right? I will say, I don't know if it was Colleen in particular, but I really struggled with her society and anti-diet community as a whole. Yeah. And I think that's the difference, really. And I think when we watched you intuitively eat and really struggle with that, I really think the difference is like, I think the component that a lot of people leave out, like the anti-diet movement has turned into a let's rebel against everything that dieting stands for. And I think that that's too much of an extreme. But I think when reading this book, the actual definition of intuitive eating, like I said, is respecting your hunger, respecting your fullness and satisfaction, and respecting your body. And that implies fueling your body for energy, fueling your body for life, and doing all of those things. And I think that going strictly anti-diet in the ways of like anything that might remotely resemble a dieting approach is wrong. And a lot of people view proper nutrition as a diet approach when it's not. Like, you should just be fueling your body properly. And properly is different for everybody, right? Some people thrive with more carbs or more protein. Some people thrive with more fat and less carbs. And finding what works for you is great and all, but we should all should be eating vegetables. Like, if any anti-diet thing makes you believe that eating vegetables or fruits is a sin, that's not the thing for you. Eating fruits, eating vegetables, good. Very good. Fiber, good. Protein, good. You get what I'm saying? But also ice cream, cookies, cake, if you want them, good. Like, that's what it is, right? There's that balance. And I think that a lot of people, because our entire world is so polarized lately, it's way too easy to be like, well, if I'm not dieting, then I'm very clearly anti-dieting, and therefore nutrition just goes out the window. No. Let's be logical humans about this. I 100% going to eat carbs and steak for a long period of time. Interesting. And so then for you, a more practical side of it would have to come into play too. I need to make sure that I'm eating my vegetables, right? I need to make sure I'm eating, if fibrous carbs. If you like carbs, have carbs, but have fibrous filled ones, right? Have some beans, have some lentils, have some, fiber filled carbs. For me, it was the weight loss doesn't equal health thing that I got swayed into. If you're thin, you're unhealthy. Your symptoms can't be related to weight gain. Oh, no, there are plenty of thin people out there that are not healthy. Plenty of them. There are plenty of thin people out there with eating disorders and struggling with food and fighting chronic illnesses and all of these things. Yeah, it's not just thinness. One day I eat coming this Tuesday. Excellent. Even birthday treats. Oh, get the book. It may take you up on the offer. Please message me if you're in crisis, Kim. I am here for you. I'm here for you. Please message me. Because I would love to see you do it. I would love to see you do just one day. You are the perfect candidate. Seriously. And I think that's the thing about IE that doesn't make sense, is there's no restrictions. And right. There's no restrictions, but there's also, it's not meant for you to be, it's not a permission slip to be stupid. Right. And I think that that's the difference. I was saying earlier, I have no qualms with being unrestricted this week. And I have still eaten a very balanced and very proper diet. And heck, I even lost a pound on the scale. But it was completely unrestricted. There was nothing in me. Like, I genuinely was like, what do I want to eat? What are the things that would make me feel the best? And I combined the two. Last night's dinner, like I was saying, was a little thing of the feta pasta, and then I ate 3/4 of a Ninja Creamy pint because that's what I wanted. And it was a protein pint. I'll admit it. There was about 3/4 of a cup of protein powder in there, or not of a cup. Oh gosh, no, of a serving. I mastered the Oreo creamy. I mastered it. I will be posting a recipe very, very soon. It has protein powder in there, but it also has real sugar in there. And it's not almond milk. It's a combination of chocolate and non-fat Fairlife milk. I'm real proud of it. No, I don't know exactly how much protein is in it because by the time I started making it, I wasn't tracking anymore, but it's got PE Science protein powder in it. It is a protein treat. It is an ice cream treat. I didn't feel bad about it at all. It was so good. And you know what? It hit the freaking spot. And I think that's the point. I think that's the point. I think we'd have to be mindful of food groups. And here's the thing. And yes, and that's true. But I have utmost confidence in y'all because y'all have been trained by me. And none of you can look at food and go, this is going to make me feel good. Or this is going to make me, like, none of you can't do that. Like, if I gave you a bowl, if I gave you a giant, let's just go back to the bowl of frosting, right? And I went, here you go. You can have as much as you want, right? All of you know that eating that entire bowl of frosting is going to make you feel terrible. So I'm willing to bet that most of you won't do it. I'm willing to bet most of you won't do it. And I think that's the point. And I think that everybody's really trying so hard to make there be no. No. I don't think so at all. I think being mindful is the entire point. Being mindful, if you can replace the word respect with be mindful about, and it would kind of be the same thing. Be mindful of your hunger. Be mindful of your nutrition. Be mindful of your body. All of the. I think you could flip out the two words, and I think it would qualify. I think the element that people are forgetting here is the whole respect for your body thing. And we all know that it is not respectful to our bodies to sit and eat 5,000 calories worth of frosting. You have permission to do so. But, and if it's a thing you need to do, then do it by all means. You have permission to do it. But I think the thing that happens is for a lot of people, like, because look at what everyone's getting hung up on. Everyone's getting hung up on the lack of restrictions. Why? Because we all are living in a world where there are restrictions. We're living in a world where food restriction is our norm. What happens the second that you go, I am restricting this thing? What if I looked at y'all and I said, you cannot have insert thing here anymore? None of you are allowed to have berries ever again. It is officially a food restriction. Y'all are going to want some berries. You're like, you know what? That sounds pretty good right now, doesn't it? Because you can't have it. And so with a lot of dieting, like, what happens? A lot of us, when we fall off track, we go after the foods that we're restricting, the foods that we have deemed as bad. And the point is that there are no longer any of those. And everyone's getting hung up on the fact that, oh my gosh, no restrictions. Well, I'm currently living my life in restriction and I'm not seeing results. So how can no restriction end up not give me results and all these things? Y'all are missing the point, I think. Because it's okay to not have the restriction. It's okay to not have that mindset because that's what actually eases the tension. That's what eases the tension with all of it. Because as soon as we're like, oh, I'm back on track, back on my 23 points, back on my 1,200 calories, back on my, gotta eat my 150 grams of protein. And then all you can think about is the thing that doesn't fall into that plan. All you want is the thing that doesn't fall into that plan. On the day that you fall off track or you binge or you were bad today, you're eating the things that don't agree with that plan, that don't align with that plan. And on this, there's nothing that doesn't agree with that plan. And that's the difference. And so all of a sudden, the compelling need to have those things goes away. If you're overly restricting carbs and you believe that you would do nothing but eat carbs, try not restricting your carbs. And like believing it and not believing it's a sin. And that's the difference. It's all up in the mind. It's all up in the mind. If you truly believe I can eat this whenever I want to eat this, and it's fine, you will be shocked to discover how the food no longer has power. Right? If all of a sudden, like think of the kid, right? Think of the 2-year-old who just got 12 brand new, sparkling, amazing, expensive toys for their birthday. And their younger sister got this new $5 toy. What do you think the kid wants to play with? Spoiler alert, it's not any of the amazing things that they have in front of them. It's the lousy, crappy $5 toy they gave the younger kids so they wouldn't feel bad they didn't get a present. That's the thing that the birthday girl wants to play with, right? Because it's the one thing they can't have. It's inherent. It's in our nature to be that way. And when you let that go, when you say you can play with whatever toy you want at any given time that you want, guess what? You don't want to play with the toys anymore. Or you only play with the toys when you're like, you know what? It's time to play. I'm going to play with some toys. And then you just have free reign to pick whatever toy you want to play with. No one's keeping a toy from you. No one has a toy that you can't have. So your playtime might be shorter because you're like, well, I did the thing. I played. I'm done. I'm satisfied. Good. Let's go do something else. Time to read a book. You get what I'm saying? Check with specific numbers. Don't push the big red button. To feel more in control of yourself, that would be my issue. Feeling out of control, not tracking. This is a great conversation. I'm glad. And it makes me so happy because I was so worried about having this conversation. And I knew I shouldn't have been, which is why I asked people to pray for it. And but this feels right for me. This feels right for me. And again, if it's not right for you, then it's not right for you right now, and that's fine. That's completely fine. But this is what's right for me. And I feel so empowered by it. I can't even begin to tell you. The true test will be a family get together this weekend. Can I intuitively eat at a family get together this weekend? That will be the true test. I will have to report back next week, y'all. But I have kept y'all so long. $5 toy, you tell a kid you play this. It's true. That's exactly my point. It could be the lousy toilet paper roll. They could have the $300 Nintendo Switch, but if their sister has the toilet paper roll and is having a good time with it, guess what? They're going to put the Switch down and go play with the toilet paper roll. That's the point. The second you let go of the restriction, and it's a psychological thing, the second you let go of the restriction is when things start to change. I'm in stage of not tracking, but not going wild. Yeah, yep. And everybody's different. I urge y'all, if this is at all convicting to you, to read that book. It's a solid read. It'll get you thinking. At the very least, it will get you thinking. And remember to be gracious with yourself. Remember to be gracious with yourself, because we have all been ingrained with all of this for so long, myself included. I've been going back and I've been watching, like as I've been doing things, I've been going back and watching old vlogs of mine. And the amount of diet mindset stuff that has come out of my mouth when I was at a weight where I'm like, if it was me now, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. So happy. And I'm watching and I'm like, you poor girl. What have I done to you? So it's just worth thinking about if you feel at all convicted. All right, friends, this was a great chat. Thank you guys for hanging out. We can continue this chat next week because I'm sure I will have an update for you by then. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. It was really, really powerful to have the back and forth. So I hope you guys gained something from it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you all next week. Take care.